Welcome to this tutorial. My name is Ian and I will be taking you through the tutorial. We're going to continue with our journey through ChatGPT and analyzing data. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can easily apply filters. So we're going to be looking at some text filters, numeric filters, top 10 filters. We're going to be seeing how we can easily take your data and add these filters into the questions that we've been using. Now, if you've been following the series of tutorials so far, you'll see that we've just really been using very simple, easy to follow instructions that we give ChatGPT. And you're going to see that this is no different when it comes to applying your filters. We're going to continue using the sales data that we've used throughout the other tutorials as well. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel and keep up to date with all our latest content. Okay, so let's jump into the tutorial. I will see you there. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can get ChatGPT to be able to filter our data. So we're going to start off like we always do. We've got our data sheet here. So if you've seen my previous tutorials, then you'll know that this is a sales data set that we're working with. So we're just going to basically tell the system to load the file. And I'm also going to ask it to just list the field names that are in the table for the sales that we're looking at. Okay, so there we go. It's starting to give us a list of the field names that we're working with. Now for this example, what I'm going to focus on is we're going to be looking at these products. So basically we've got a product name that is a member of a product subcategory, and a product subcategory is a member of a product category, and we also have our sales values. So if you've seen the previous tutorials, then you'll know that we can easily summarize and aggregate our data. So we're going to start off and we're going to create a table that's going to show me my sales by my product subcategory. But now often what might want to happen there is that we might want to filter this table. So we may want to take our product category, for example, and we have a product category called technology, and we only want to show the product subcategories that belong to the product category. So let's see how we would go ahead and do that. So let's just firstly create the table. We're just going to tell it to create a table, and we're going to say displaying sales by product subcategories. And if you've seen my previous tutorials, then you would know that we can easily add a total to this table. So I'm going to tell it to format the values so that we have 1,000 separators and no decimals. So I'm just going to say 1,000 separators and no decimals. And as I say, if you've seen some of the previous tutorials, then we've done that quite a bit. So this will just come up with a standard table showing us those results. Okay, so here we go. Here's our table being built. And you're going to see there's quite a number of product subcategories. I think there's about 20 in total. Okay, so there we go. We've got our total table. And what I wanted to show you is we could just easily now just give this a filter. And we're just going to say filter the table to display product category. And in this case, we're going to say equal to technology. When we run this, we should see now there's going to be a lot less product subcategories that are going to be displayed. Okay, so here we go. It's going to show us the filtered list. And as you can see in the description, it says it's doing for the technology product category. And you can see straight away, there's a lot less items in that. Okay, so that's the first type of filter that you might be familiar with. But you also might be using filters such as you may want to find things that begin with something or contain something. So let's look at an example where we can find something that begins with something. So I'm going to say create a table, and I'm going to say create a table displaying, and this time we're going to use our product name, and I'm going to say by displaying product name and sales, and I'm going to say in this case filter for product name, and we're going to say begins with, and let's say we're looking for everything that begins with the term Xerox. So we're just looking for product names that begin with Xerox. Let's submit that. And there we go. As you can see, the table is now listing just product names that begin with the word Xerox. And you may notice this. This basically means that when the table is too long to easily display, then basically it just puts that dot, dot, dot in there. It actually does have the table. You can actually view the full table if you wanted to, or you could do an export of this table. You could take it into Excel. It would have the full table. Now it's telling us that it's a large number of entries. The table consists of 769 rows in total. So there's quite a lot of product names that are currently being displayed on this. Now, if you wanted to, we could also use a contains. So I could tell it to find all the product names that say contain the word table. So again, let's say create a table displaying product names and sales. And let's say where the product name contains table. And again, if you've been following the series of tutorials about this, you will see that this is written in a very plain English way. And you may well come up with different ways of phrasing this. You're going to see that it's actually very easy to do it differently. Straight away, I've actually noticed here creates a table and I didn't put a space in. And what you tend to going to find is that ChatGPT actually figures it out. So even though I've made a mistake there, it often actually corrects my spelling, or it actually just figures out where I've made a mistake. And you can see here that it is actually listing all of these with tables. So all of these have the word tables in. Again, because of the dot, dot, dot in the middle, it means that we've got more entries than we've actually got. So again, it's telling me there's 347 rows in total. So it's giving me a list, an understanding of that. Now, the other types of filters that you could do is you could do on numerics. So for example, we have a customer name here. And let's say, for example, I just want to see all the customers who have sales over $60,000. And I want to know how many customers there are. So again, we could tell it to create a table displaying the sales by customer. And we'll tell it where sales is greater than 60,000. And then you could say how many customers have sales greater than 60,000. So let's submit that. Okay, so there we go. It's now showing the $60,000. Again, it's creating a table of those customers. And so far we haven't got the dot, dot, dot. So it's probably showing the whole table of the number of customers that we have. And hopefully at the end, it's going to give me a summary telling me how many customers we actually have there. Okay, so there we go. Well, there are 23 customers in total. So it gives me that information. Now, just as easily, I could say, find customers with sales less than a certain amount. So I would leave you to experiment with that. But another type of analysis you often want to do is you want to say, what is the top 10? So you might want to say, for example, let's say we want to see the top 10 product names for the product category technology, but in the South region. So we could combine a number of filters together. So let's say let's just spell that correctly, create a table. And we're going to say displaying product name and sales. And we're going to say for the top 10 products in technology product category and in the South region. So there we go. Create a table displaying the product name and sales for the top 10 products in technology product category and in the South region. Again, we can accept that and let's submit it. And again, you can see by the description there, it's interpreted what I've said. So it's understood the technology category within the South region. And there we go. We now have the top 10 products being listed in our table. And as I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to take that table now, you want to export it to an Excel file, you could just say export the table to Excel. And it will now create a downloadable link where you can click on that and save the file and then use this information in your Excel. There we go. You would just click on this link over here, and then that would allow you to download that data. Now, one of the things I do want to show you, we've just shown the top 10. Now, another type of analysis you often do with your filter is to say, I actually want to see the top 20% or the bottom 20% of items. So let's do an example where we want to see what is the, say, the bottom 20% of the items. So let's say create a table displaying the bottom 20% of product names and sales. Let's put it in sales. And should we say also, let's continue using those two filters. So we're going to say in the product category, I'm going to say technology and the South region. Then we're going to tell it to display the number of products and the total value of sales. Okay, so quite a few instructions there. Let's hit submit on that to create a table displaying the bottom 20% of product names and their sales in the product category technology, which I've spelt incorrectly again, and the South region. So let's see if it's going to display the number of products and the total value of sales as well. So as you can see, it's starting to list the bottom 20% there. Okay, so as you can see, this time it's actually done the full list. It didn't do the ... But at the end there, it's telling us the number of products was 47 and the total value of sales was around $17,813 for that bottom 20%. Okay, so we're going to conclude the tutorial there. Hopefully you've seen that we're able to easily use these filters. We can put it in different language. You can put it in different statement, different instructions. So please just experiment with those. But I will see you in the next tutorial.